on the back today, because there's so much that I want to go over that I'm just going to skip the standing technique today, okay? So I find myself with somebody on my back, okay? And usually, if they know what they're doing, right, they're going to have what we call a seat belt, right? He's going to have one arm under my armpit, the other arm over my shoulder, right? And this is a great form of control for him, so that I can't easily rotate out of this, right? That I can't easily get out, right? And so once he establishes the seat belt, he's got his hooks in. Usually, he's going to want to work me over to one side or the other, right? Either to this side or to the other side. And they're different. And they're different because we're gonna identify one as the underhook side and one as the choking arm side, right? So the choking arm is identified by the arm that can easily loop around my neck, right? The underhook side is the one that's under my armpit, right? So if he falls towards the underhook side, when he attempts to lock up his rear naked choke, right, he finds himself with his arm trapped. But not only that, even if he could manage to pull his arm out, he's going to have to lock this rear naked choke up on the bottom side. You guys see that? But if we sit up and he falls towards the choking arm side, he can easily lock it up with a lot of space up here. Go ahead, all the way to the full rear naked and finish. You see that? So he does kind of want to fall over towards one side. And usually that's going to be towards the choking arm. You're going to want to fall over towards the choking arm. So if you are the guy on the back, if you are Chris in this situation, you want to fall towards the choking arm. That's usually going to be your basic goal. Okay, that's kind of like 101, right? That's not always true, right? Sometimes guys want to fall to the underhook side to set up their arm bars, right? You guys see that? So there is value to falling towards the underhook side, but it becomes a more advanced conversation usually at that point. Okay, so once we understand that, I find myself, today we're going to start when we fall on the choking side, which is going to be the more popular side, right? He falls towards that choking side, and I find myself here. But I don't want to give up just yet, right? I want to try to fight out of this if I can, right? So the first thing I do, I identify the choking arm, and I put two hands on that choking arm, nice and strong. I want to get like as much of a good grip as I can in there. So like 1, 2, like a baseball bat maybe, or maybe I get all 5 fingers in there. I want to make sure that he has a hard time getting under my chin, right? We start fighting this, okay? Now, what I want to do is I want to attempt to break his grips apart if I can, and that's not always going to be possible, right? I want to attempt to make some space here. Maybe I could overpower him and break that grip, maybe not. Maybe I try to make space, it's not working. But look what I'm going to do. I'm going to look to bring one arm inside. I'll just make a little bit of space. And then what I'm going to look to do is kind of like quickly try to get one arm inside. And it could be either one. Right? So I make a little bit of space and go ahead. And he's resisting. He's trying. And I try to get one arm inside. You see that? Or I could always go here. And that's the one we're going to do first. Okay, so I'm trying to break his grips apart. I can't, so look what I do. I shoot my arm inside and I put it under my armpit. You guys see that? So that's kind of the move. I'm trying to break his grip, it's not working. Boom, I shoot my arm inside. Once my arm is inside, now I don't have to worry about getting choked. He doesn't have a choking arm anymore. I forced what we call a double underhook position on him. I've now forced this on him. Okay? The next thing I want to do is I want to make sure that I keep this leg trapped, right? And I want to bridge my head to the mat. Actually, trapping this leg isn't so important as bridging my head to the mat, right? And now what I'm going to start to do is get my heels down so I can bridge. And I can start to wiggle back. I might even attack that and start, even though I can't break it apart, I can push it down my hips. And for sure, he's going to want to mount me here. Yes, absolutely. But before he does, look what I'm going to do. I'm going to bridge my hips so that he has to come up high to take that. And as he comes up really high, right, I can more easily begin my escapes. Hips high, so he has to step big. The bigger he is, the more space I have to start to initiate my escapes. And of course, in a more maybe beginner situation, he allows me to get here and he doesn't climb up, which is just an easy spin to get on top of him, Okay? So, one more time. Your partner takes your back, and he falls towards the choking arm. We defend the choking arm. We get a good grip. That's the first thing. That's the first battle. Getting a good grip. Sometimes that's a fight. He's trying to choke me. I'm tucking my chin. It's a battle to get a good grip on that arm. Once I have a good grip, now he's squeezing. He's trying to take all that away, right? I'm going to look for a moment to get my arm through. And then I'm going to force the double underhook position. Here, he might be using his legs to pull me back down, to sink my hips back down. So what I got to do is get on my heels and push my head to the mat. It's important that you bridge. Because if you don't bridge, he's just going to shoot you back down with his legs. Yep. Start to wiggle up and establish his seatbelt again. You see that? So what I'm essentially doing is once I get double underhooks, I'm working to get my hips above his hips and my head above. And if he's still gripping this tight, I'm moving his hands and I'm bridging my hips high. So he's got to take a big, huge leap to try to get to mount. Absolutely not. I'm going to put him in half guard at the very least. At the very least, I'm getting half guard. I might get full guard, and I might actually end up on top. Of course, spinning on top of him is the goal. That would be the best case scenario, but that's probably the hardest to achieve against a good guy. Against a good guy, getting out of the back is probably good enough, but against a good guy, most likely you're going to end up trapping their leg and putting them in half guard. Okay? So, again, seatbelt, my partner takes me towards the choking side because he's thinking rear naked choke. He's thinking, go ahead and come back up. Chris is thinking, I'm going to drop him and I'm going to lock up that rear naked choke. So go ahead. Chris is thinking, I'm going to drop him and I'm going to lock up that rear naked choke. That's what he's thinking. So he's going to drop me, right? And I'm going to go, nope, not today, right? I'm going to get my arms as strong as I can and make enough space to get my arm through. And then I'm going to try to wiggle it there. And then I'm going to bridge. Maybe full guard, go back. Maybe just come back up, come up. Maybe just half guard. But all that's good for me because I live to fight another day. He almost had me. You almost had me. Good job, Chris. Exactly. Okay? Does that make sense to you guys? Let me flow through it one last time. He falls towards the choking arm. 2-on-1. Make space. Force the double underhooks. Bridge, wiggle, bridge. I'm gone. Okay? Let's do it. On 2-1-2, grab your partners. All right, guys, so same thing, right? But this time we fall towards the choking arm, right? And he feels me going to break this, right? So what he does is he switches to wrist control. He kind of like wrist rides me here with that underhook hand, and he starts to strip. He takes my hand away. You see that? He felt me start trying to break this, so he tries to take that hand away. Yeah. And then that happens. He takes my wrist away, and he shoots his arm across. That can be trouble for me. Okay? Not only that, if he knows maybe even a little more, he might grab my wrist and put it under his thigh and start giving me trouble here. Okay? So all of this can be troublesome for me. Okay? So as I'm breaking the control, right, and he starts trying to ride my wrist, right, before he can really strip it, go ahead. There's kind of a little bit of like kung fu that happens here, because what I want to do is as he takes my wrist away, I want to grab my ear. You see that? Yeah. So as he takes my wrist, I'm immediately here because I don't want him to choke me, right? So I block it, you know, because I know that the moment he takes my wrist away, that hand is coming to choke me. So when he takes my wrist away, I block it. I just go here. You see that? And now he's trying to trap my arm, right? He's trying to do this. So what I want to do, go ahead, is I want to straighten and I want to start to turn. So instead of resisting, look, if I try to keep my arm bent and he traps my arm, I actually help him keep my arm trapped. You see that? And now I get stuck. So I don't want to do that. When he pushes my arm through and he grabs it, maybe he doesn't even try to trap it between his legs either. He might just go ahead and grab my wrist He might just stay here, like this. You see that? But look, if I straighten it, go ahead, grab my wrist strong. I'm sorry, grab my wrist strong here. Yeah, and just don't let me, yeah. But look, when I straighten it, see how I take his grip away? It's not strong for him anymore. And then again, look, same thing. We're bridging, right? And what we're attempting to do here is we're attempting to get his arm over our head. So sometimes, maybe I'll be able to push it over my head just like this. Sometimes I have to come out and away from him. And for sure, he's going to be chasing me. He's not going to let me get that much space, right? So he's wrist riding me here, right? Go ahead. Yeah, right there. Boom, I straighten, and he's chasing me here, right? He's trying to reestablish. He's trying to pull me back on top of him usually. Back to the seatbelt, right? Back to control. And I'm wiggling, bah, and I'm moving. It's a fight. You guys see that? For sure, think of yourselves like as, if you're the person on the back right now, think of yourself like a spring. Like you're constantly trying to return to your original position, right? So when I go to break this, he resists by constantly trying to come back to its original position. It's like a spring. You see that? And you can adjust that resistance, right? He doesn't have to give me 100% resistance if I'm a beginner or it's my first rep, right? Maybe it just starts with 10% resistance. It's like a little spring. It starts with 10%, right? You guys see that? So that's how you guys can help each other with resistance. But I want you to think about maintaining at least 10% resistance throughout the whole drill or throughout the whole escape, right? So again, we fall towards the choking arm. I'm attacking the choking arm. He's giving me resistance here. He goes to trap my wrist, right? I immediately block the choking arm. He goes to trap my arm. I straighten and I start to wiggle out. He's probably thinking about mounting me here, right? He's thinking about that, right? That could happen, right? If this happens where my arm gets trapped inside and he gets on top, I don't want to get triangled here, right? So I'm going to actually put both arms through. And I'm going to attempt to come out the back door, right? Before he can really squeeze on me, right? So if that happens and my arm gets trapped, both arms get trapped, I'm just going to start to wiggle under, start to get up and out. You guys see that? But I think that both escapes really kind of follow the same principle. And what that principle is I'm trying to get my shoulders to the mat. The goal, no matter what, is to get my shoulders to the mat. So he's going to choke me. I'm trying to do the first escape and force that double underhooks position, right? But as I'm doing so, he wrist rides me. So I switch to this, where I'm just chilling. But I don't want to chill, actually. I want to bridge. And I want to start turning into him. And if he's going to mount me here with my arm trapped, I got to make two choices. Either I let him mount me, go ahead, and I pull my arm out, or try to anyways, or, go back, or I let him mount me, and I make sure both my arms are underneath, and I start to come up. You guys see that? So, last one. He's on my back. We're here, we're fighting. He's feeling me start break this, right? Boom. Right? Wiggle, 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 wiggle. Go ahead. Bam. You guys see that? Does that make sense to you guys?
Makes sense.
Worst case scenario, you get mounted. And ideally, I don't want that to happen. I want you guys to either get half guard, or I want you guys to come up on top somehow. Does that make sense? Mount is okay. Like mount would be like the bronze. It's good. You got out of the back control, but nobody remembers third place. Okay? You know what I mean? Like half guard is like silver maybe, or full guard, right? But the gold is to get out and be back into a dominant position, right? Where either I'm wrestling him again and we're equal, or I'm on top. Okay? That's the goal. That's the best. So, we're fighting. I'm trying to force this double underhooks position. He goes to wrist ride. Oh shit, I don't want to stay here. If I let him advance here, he's going to trap my arm. He's going to cross his ankles. Go ahead. Yeah, maybe even deeper. Triangle him. Yeah. He's going to get me here. And then he's going to start. This is going to be terrible. Okay? So, make sure 2-on-1. trying to force the double underhooks. He goes to the wrist right, boom, I start getting away from him. See how I'm doing the cha-cha. Oh, I was gonna try to do the thing. What do you guys call that?
Oh, just like shucking it.
No, like when you get someone like here or like this kind of thing.
Oh, just like riding the leg.
Yeah, like kind of like riding the leg. I don't know.
I don't
I
know
love
if you use
wrestling.
direct terms. They just,
Yeah, they just like that's crazy. Like in jiu-jitsu, we're so like
they have a name.
we're
for
so
everything.
specific with names and trying to like this move is this move is that, and in wrestling, your coach just goes, all right, guys, you know, the guy grab the leg here, put him down.
Yeah.
All right, guys, ready, go.
Where's the Iranian from? Wrestling
Iranian.
or the
Yeah,
Iranian?
wrestling.
Yeah, wrestling, yeah.
Okay.
All right, guys, let's do it on 2-1-2. This one's short because it's way easier when we don't have to do all that work. So we've been going only to the choking side this whole time. But what if we fall towards the underhook side? Well, I've already got one shoulder to the mat. Now all I have to do is bridge, wiggle to free my shoulder. You see how he's got this seat belt? So I post my head on the mat, and now I just got to work to wiggle that shoulder out. I can use my hands too even. Boom, push it down, right? I can do the same thing and try to force the double underhooks position. I could put his head under my arm too. Or if I can't get under his head, I can simply use it to help me pry myself up. It's the same thing. You guys see that? I just have to free my shoulder in this case. Okay? This one's called the safe haven. This one is like basics now. Because we fall towards the underhook side. Boom. Head down. Head down, heels down. Free the shoulder. Free the arm. Free the hips. Bridge. Right? He gets to choose now. Right? Whether he wants to stay there. Most guys aren't going to stay there. Yeah, they're going to try to get on top of you. Right? Nobody's going to let you get on top. Yeah, and it's going to be the battle. You know? Against a good guy, you're going to end up fighting from half guard most of the time. And that's okay. Okay? Head down, heels down. Shoulder out. Arm out. Hips out. Bridge, bridge, bridge. It's all you right here, baby. You guys see what I mean? This one's called safe haven. Super simple. We fall. This time he falls to the underhook side. And like I said, sometimes people are going to do that because they want to set you up for arm bars. Wow. But I can't get arm barred if I get my head to the mat. See that? He's got to be able to make a little space so he can bring that leg over. You see that? But if my head is down, go ahead, try to bring your leg over. It's not going to happen, son. It's just not going to happen. You guys see what I mean? You understand? Let's do it on 2-1-2. Grab a partner. Safe haven.